You're listening to the Nadvigators Podcast, Navigating the American Dream with Bessie Simon. For more information on today's show, be sure to check out the show notes and resources at nadcast.com.
So let me ask you one question here, which this is more like a funny thing, depending on how you look at it. Well, let me give you a quick story so that you can think about what I'm going to ask. So the question I'm going to ask you is that what is the one annoying question, for example, that you got asked by an American when you first got here, okay? Or what is the one thing that one of your comical moments, basically either you found out about it later in your journey and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that I knew I did that, right? And or some question that is kind of became annoying to you. Let me give you an illustration of that with a simple one here. So when I first came, we got here in 1997, and one of the people in this community that I talked about, and they were very curious about us because, of course, we came from Nigeria. We spoke English, and they kept saying, "Where did you learn English?" I keep asking me, "Where did you learn English?" And then somebody even said something like, "How did you get to United States? How did you get here?" I didn't get it. I didn't get offended because I knew that they didn't know. Either they were just curious or they were just naive about it. So in some of the answers, if somebody was asking me something like, how did you get there? I would just jokingly say, hey, there's Atlantic Ocean. I just swim across it. And that would kind of deflate everything out. Everybody just start laughing. And then we just kind of talked about it, So I'd like to hear some of those funny situations, either comical ones that you found out for yourself, or maybe somebody asked you and you just shake your head and leave. What are some of those times?
Well, I don't have like a specific question that bothers me, but there's one thing that I don't like, and it is when people complain about foreign people using whatever kind of service or people they get from the government of the United States.
Right.
But I remember of my 4 children, one of them, number 3, he was born in Arizona. That was the time that I was studying for the tests.
Mm-hmm.
And when my wife was pregnant, we got her enrolled in a program so that she was able to attend different meetings with a obstetrician.
Mm-hmm.
And I will have to pay a lump sum, right? A certain amount of money. I forgot how much it was, but it was close to $2,000, something like that. Okay. But by paying that, she will receive prenatal care and it will cover the delivery. Okay. And I remember when we started attending the visits, the prenatal visits, there were people there. They will actually insist that we use this other service and this other service and this other service because all of them were for free. And even we could stop using the one we got enrolled in and getting a different one that was free.
Mm.
And they will insist, they will be pushy about it. And I remember my wife rejecting it, saying like, no, thank you. No, thank you. We are happy with the program we got enrolled. We are happy to pay whatever the amount was. And we don't want this, we don't want that, we don't want that. Right? So I think that's something that most people don't know, that many of those things are actually pushed. Whoever is the representative of that program, I don't know what is the motivation of pushing it. I don't know if really out of the heart, right, to help people, or they receive some grant, or I don't know, right? But I remember that those things happen. And of course, there are plenty of people who, you want to give me something? Yes, give it to me.
Yeah.
It didn't happen with us. And a question that I get often is, where did I learn English? But
you get that too?
Yeah, of course. And I explained that in Mexico we study it as a second language.
Right. Well, in my case, actually, we study English is the primary language for instructions everywhere. It's the official language. And it's interesting. In fact, one of the segments that we will have on this platform would be, we will actually invite some Americans to actually come talk to us about why they think the way they do. I mean, I think it would be interesting to find out what it is that they also have it think about, So it would be nice to learn about.